and it probably took me. It probably took me up until about March for us to realize that she's not coming back, and that like it is final. It's done. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So yeah, I think coming to terms of it has been the biggest shock. That well, life is this now, and it is different.
Welcome everyone, episode 21, Brothers of Purpose. This is going to be a good one. We've got Jack Waterson on, good friend of mine. He's coached me a number of times, and he is doing some really exciting stuff at the moment. Jack, you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Yeah, I'm Jack Waterson. Do I look at the camera or do I?
No,
Do it right, okay, yeah. So, Jack Waterson, I'm a personal trainer down at No Limits Performance in Gateshead. Yeah, just love fitness, love helping people. Currently on a mission to try and raise as much awareness and money as possible for suicide awareness and a charity called If You Care Share.
I love that, man.
Love that, bro.
Now I know the story behind that, and I know for me personally, you've always had something really likable about you, and you've always come across in a really authentic way. And for there was a while that I was sort of like, "Where's Jack?" Because you weren't around. I didn't know why, but I've never been one to sort of pry or ask. And it wasn't. It was. I was probably quite late to finding out sort of why. But to see what you've done since then and the growth in what you're doing now, man, I'm so proud of you, bro.
I appreciate it, mate. I really do.
But for everyone that doesn't know, why don't you sort of just go into a bit as to where you're at now?
Yeah, so on the 14th of November last year, my mum committed suicide. Just it was a very brief and tragic battle with mental health, really. It sort of just went from here all the way down in a space of a week, I'd say. That's when it happened. It was obviously where life's changed overnight. And like you said, I was obviously away from work. I was away from the gym, just shut off from the world for, I'd say it was from November when it happened. It was about the end of January when I came back and started trying to get my life back on track and make this new normal, which still doesn't feel normal.
Yeah.
But since losing my mum, we've been supported by a charity called If You Care Share, which have been amazing. Like, absolutely vital, the work that they do. And it's made us realise how important it actually is, and that suicide awareness is massive. Like, it's mental health month this month, it's mental health week next week, and it gets talked about so much, but I don't think people realise how serious the problem is. We're living not just through a suicide pandemic, but a mental health pandemic. I think everybody you speak to has some sort of issue going on, or they're down about themselves, or this or that, and worrying about everything. And people really need to take it serious, because we were the most normal, amazing people in the world, and it happened to us. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's the least expected thing we could ever have imagined to happen. So just being on a mission really to try better myself and help other people with what's happened to us.
No, I love it, mate. Honestly, I think I agree with what you're saying. I think mental health is something which there's a lot more being talked about, how it affects people and the number of people, but how much is being done, I don't know. But that's why I think when I see what you're doing in what is a really short space of time, it's going to impact so many people.
Yeah.
You know, I the only way I can relate it is to when I lost my dad a few years ago. Obviously different scenarios, but when I lost him, I didn't deal with it anywhere near the way you're dealing with it. I wanted to numb everything, and I numbed everything for literally 2 years. I delved into my addiction, and I just didn't deal with a single thing, didn't confront it for 2 years. So to see you having, I assume, made a choice to not do that and to go down the route you have, that's incredible, I think.
Yeah, like, well, because I tried, like, with cannabis, I tried smoking that, and like, because I won't lie, used to love it, absolutely love it. I was never ever a regular smoker, but would sometimes just go out and I would enjoy it and would chill us out. And I tried it with that, and all it did was just take us into a darker place. I remember I didn't have it for a few months, and I'd come back to work and I had it on a weekend once. I was like, I'll try it again, and God, I was depressed for weeks. I had to have another few weeks off. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. And I just thought, I've never ever been a big drinker, or like I did when I was younger, but it wasn't good for us then. And I know it's not good for us now. So I just try and better myself and sort of not necessarily set an example, but I
You are.
know with being a personal trainer, what's good for you and what's not good for you, and I know that anything that's going to be mind altering or a depressant like alcohol, because cannabis, people don't think that that's harmful, but it's one of the worst ones out there, because the decline of cannabis goes slow and slow and slow, whereas everything else just drops you straight off. People notice that. But yeah, just not going to use the word inspire, but just to show people that there is still life after suicide. As hard and as horrible as it is, there is still life out there, and you've just got to guide yourself into the right path for it.
No, I mean, I agree. I think it's amazing, mate. I think if you could break down, how have you got to this point now? What have you done to sort of get you this rigid on doing all this great stuff and not just going down another route? Because I think that's the type of thing that probably could maybe help some people.
I think it was mainly for like me and my brother, because my dad's obviously like me mum and my dad were best friends. It wasn't just like like honestly, I've always said if I could have that when I was older, I'd be happy. Like this amazing. And I think me and my brother sort of came together and just said like, we cannot go down this path, because it's just the three of us now. Like we're all three of us sat down and we said like, we've got to stick together and we've got to better ourselves each day. Like we've dragged my dad to the gym. Nice. He's did his first gym session on his own the other day. So so like just like made a pact almost to say that we're not going to allow anything to let us take us down that path. So and obviously, like I said, with If You Care Share, seeing how vital their work is and how much money they need to be able to do the work, we've dedicated ourselves to doing that for them, because I never want a family to go through what we've went through. It's not even just a family, anybody. Like through If You Care Share, we've met other families who have been affected by it, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely
what's some of the stuff that they help you with when
so
you're going through?
Like we'll come out, we'll have a meeting nearly every week individually. Like with a man called Andy, and he's a really top bloke. The good thing about If You Care Share is that everybody there has either been impacted by suicide, or they've been suicidal themselves, and they've sort of come out that other end of it. And that was the case with Andy. So it just feels like you relate to them in a sense. So you feel a lot more comfortable. And like my dad, he's seeing like a proper psychologist now through If You Care Share. He goes on walks with like other families and stuff. So it's just like guiding us in the right way, and it's somebody able to talk to. It's like it's a community of broken people trying to fix everybody else. So honestly, it is amazing what they do. Really, really good.
Mate, that's sick. I bet that helps so much.
Oh, so much.
I think because that's one of. So I was reading the other day, which is it was about addiction and mental health, and what it was talking about is the antidote to that is community.
Yeah.
It's finding like-minded people, but that's why I love No Limits.
Yeah.
It's that community, because you know every day that there's going to be people walking in there who have some shit going on in their lives. But I guarantee it's a bit less bad when they're in that gym.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I mean, I bet it's helped you going back there.
Oh, literally, the gym has saved my life before. Like I've had mental health struggles when I was younger, and like the only thing that it's for your brain, really, isn't it? Like the looking good and the feeling good is like a bonus to like being mentally. Not going to use the word stable, but just having a bit mental clarity. Like if you're having a bad day and you go, it doesn't even have to be a gym session. Go for a run, go for a nice long walk. Doing something hard that's going to make you better is just so good for your brain. It switches you on, and it makes a bad day better. And I know some of my clients, they really, really struggle. And I think with what's happened, it's like a bit of a relation that can like relate to them now and talk them through it and guide them in the right way. And No Limits is a unbelievable community. I think there probably will be a lot of people down there battling something, and
100%.
they need that place to get them through that.
Mate, it did it with me.
Yeah.
I went into that place an absolutely broken man. And 12 months down the line, changed everything.
New man, aren't you?
Man. And I've always said that place will always be a home for me.
Yeah.
I'll never leave that place because of what it gave me. But I think on that note, when you're talking about suffering and challenging yourself and forms of exercise, why don't you tell everyone what you're doing? Because you got some pretty exciting stuff going on.
So I'm going to be running the Goggins challenge, which is the 4-4-48. It's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So I'll start that. It's 5 days a day, I believe. So Thursday, 8 p.m. It's going to be a tough one. Works out at 48 miles within the 48 hours. I'm not a runner. I've done a half marathon before, but that's the furthest I've done. But yeah, just thought I'd push the boat out there, because initially it was, we're doing a skydive on August the 9th, and we've done so many fundraisers so far, but August the 9th August the 2nd, we're doing a skydive, and it was to raise funds for that. That was initially what it was, because we needed £3,000, and I just thought, right, I'm gonna do a challenge and raise some more money, and we smashed that target. I think we're sitting at like $5,500 now.
Love that.
Hopefully it's just going to keep going up and up and up, because like I say, the more money raises, the more work they can do and the more people they can support.
I love that. Well, we're going to put the links into the bio on this and try and get you some more exposure on that, because I think it's a hell of a cause. I'm going to join you on one of the runs as well, for sure.
Definitely.
Which should be tough.
I don't know how. Slog one of them out.
100%, mate. Yeah, without a doubt. No, I think it's great, mate. I think it's great what you're doing. Before you were PTing, what was your life like before that?
Good, simple. I still trained. I did a bit like MMA, just the white collar stuff. But I dove into that pretty hard. I really enjoyed that. I've always, since it's coming up to 10 years I've been training now. I started when I was 14, and just fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. And I was a lift engineer, so I worked with my dad. My dad has his own company, so it was me and him. But yeah, it was just like your everyday normal life. Loved it. And then I didn't really enjoy work. Mainly, I wasn't a very good engineer, so I wasn't very interested in it. And I always knew my passion was to go down to being a PT. But yeah, it was just like, if I could go back to that with what's happened, then I would go back in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, because there's never ever been a problem in my life. There's never ever been an issue or drama or anything like that. So yeah, just. An average, I wouldn't even say an average, of a great childhood and a great upbringing.
See?
One thing that strikes me about you, Jack, is obviously you've had this happen to you, and it's came to you as a big shock. Obviously, we all know death is a part of life, but it's not something that you can predict. So what have been some of the biggest realizations that you've had since this has happened to you?
I think exactly that. I think the hardest thing to come to terms with is that we could do nothing about it. Like even now, like talking about it, it's weird. Sort of like, I feel like I've been separated from reality. When you talk about it, you think like you're in like a film or a TV show, and we've all said, like, even now we think she's just gonna come back through the door, and or like we'll walk in and you'll shout hello and you just expect hiya, it's that realization. And it probably took me up until about March for us to realize that she's not coming back, and that like it is final, it's done. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think coming to terms with it has been the biggest shock. That life is this now and it is different.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that. I think it's one of these weird things that everyone knows that at some point in life they're gonna lose their parents, and it's
an unimaginable pain.
Oh, it's crazy.
I still, for me, I remember the advice someone gave me is, you're never gonna get over it, but it does get easier with time.
Yeah,
it does. It does. You know, I journal in the morning and the evenings. When I journal in the evenings, I write a footnote every time, as if my dad's talking to me. And that's meant, you know, I lost my dad to addiction, and he was amazing. He was an amazing man, and it was, you know, I was there when he died, and I couldn't wrap my fucking head around it.
Yeah,
I knew it was happening. I knew that was the end. Like I knew because we had to say to the doctors had to get our approval to basically turn everything off.
Yeah.
So I knew that was coming, but it's crazy, and how your head goes through these different phases. And I didn't show any emotion since when I was driving from the hospital, or driving from his the next day. I cried then, and then I don't think I cried for months. I didn't show anything, mainly because I just numbed myself with as much coke as I get my hands on, which I wouldn't recommend, by the way. But it's surreal when I know exactly what you mean when you say that moment of, oh shit, they're actually gone.
Yeah, it is. It's just like, I think with us as well, like we lost me granddad had just so we lost me mum's mum and dad when I was in primary school, and then me nana, me dad's mum, she died when I was a baby, and then me granddad just passed away a couple of months before me mum passed away. So, but like we lost our grandparents at such an early age, and for me that was just normality. I thought that happened to everybody, but then like Kitch, his grandma's still young. She's in her 80s and she's in the gym squatting and all stuff. And like,
doing deadlifts,
I didn't realize that like death this early on in our life is not normal. No. Like me and my brother sat and had a conversation, and it was quite emotional actually, because when my mum and dad got married, I wasn't born yet. It was just Matty. And my dad was sat and he was looking at the photos, and he just burst out into tears, and he was like, "It's just me and you left out of them." And it was everybody. It was like me nana, me granddad, me grandma, granddad, me mum, dad, and Matty, and it was just them two left. And like, I'm 23 and Matty's 28. You know what I mean? And we've not got a single bit of family other than obviously uncles and aunties and stuff, but a single bit of like family close to her like that. And I was just like, this is. In my head, up until this point, it was normal to lose your grandparents at that age, and it was just, I think, because we were so young, we hadn't experienced grief. I mean, like we lost with dog, and I know that was grief, but like hadn't actually been able to process what grief was up until this point. And it's like crazy. You say, you just numb to it. I think. Because it takes the brain 6 months to comprehend something. So this is probably now why I'm coming round to this point where, okay, she's gone, and it's not time to move on, but it's time to move up and try and make what we've got now as good as we possibly can.
Mate, I love that. I think it's probably impossible to move on from that.
Oh yeah, impossible.
But you're moving up. I love that. That's a good way to put it. Because this is what I mean. I can't really explain how amazing I think it is how you are right now, because you're going to go through more processes, I'm sure, with this, and it's going to be super emotional when you're doing this run. Like that's going to be a hell of an experience. But the growth you're having, it's amazing. Like, you must see it yourself.
I think so. I feel like I've definitely turned a corner recently. Like I still have the doom and gloom. I still have me episodes and stuff. Me girlfriend probably gets the majority of that side of us, because I do find it hard to open up with things. But I do think I've turned a corner, especially obviously where you know what it's like yourself. Them first few months are just torture, absolute torture.
It's like you're not there.
I didn't sleep. Hardly ate. I still managed to train 2-3 days a week, but you know what I'm like. I'm 6-7 days a week. I'm non-stop usually. So like, it just completely breaks you down. And I do feel like all three of us, like me brother and me dad, we're all starting to sort of build the blocks back up and just trying to make this normality seem familiar, because like you say, it doesn't get any easier. You just become more familiar with it. And it as wrong as it feels and as wrong as it is starting to become more familiar now.
What's like the main message that they push with suicide awareness at the moment? Because I know like the thing with suicide is we'll have the most persuasive demons, and that's the problem with it. When you have persuasive demons, you know, no matter how small or how big your problems are, it's like when those demons come calling, it's like it's true.
Yeah, it is. That's the thing. You in life, you're your own biggest critic, sorry. And you will put yourself down 10 times over anybody else will. But
it's true.
I think everyone says to talk, and it isn't easy to talk. Like, it is not easy. Like, especially not like my mom. She was such a proud woman, so that's why she struggled to talk. Like, she did everything for us. She was an absolute rock. She was the most intelligent, funny, amazing person I've ever met. Like, it took 3 of us to be able to do what one woman was doing. It's like she had an extra 10 hours in the day compared to us. But I think with suicide, everyone goes on about talking, but I think it's more about moving for me. I think that physical movement's been the best mental therapy I've like
true.
by a country mile. When I struggled myself when I was younger, I went and spoke to people, and it wasn't necessarily that I didn't think they were listening. I just think it's hard to be fully honest with them because you're probably not being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a combination of the two?
Probably, yeah, definitely. I think y- if you are struggling with mental health and you're not exercising, it doesn't have to be going in the gym and lifting loads of weights or doing high rocks and stuff. If you are not moving, you're not giving yourself that opportunity to feel better. You're just not. But I think one of the most important things for us about suicide is that one thing that we wish we knew is that if they have an episode or some sort of attempt, because my mum, she didn't attempt, she only done it the once, obviously, but like she had a little bit of a breakdown, and we didn't get warned that it's like a relapse. It's like they're almost guaranteed a relapse. So like if people out there, I know this is a bit deep, but if people out there are going through it and somebody does get to that point, the chances are that they're gonna try and do it again. So we didn't really get told that. So I think that's one message that isn't put out there.
Pushed.
Because obviously it should never ever get to that point, but the reality is it does. It is happening.
Once it gets to that point, it's a mental illness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is.
So
Of course it is. I think it's so important to check your friends and to we always say this, right? Like Mike and my friendship I've known basically 10 years, but for half that time we weren't in each other's lives. We've come back in each other's lives at certain points, really not intentionally, but when one of us has needed the other one in some way. Maybe that person didn't want, whoever it was didn't even know they needed the other one at that point, but we have. And now, I always say Mike's my 3 a.m. friend. And there's been times in this year that I've called this guy in the middle of the night and he's been there for me.
Yeah.
And he's turned up and he's stayed there for as long as I've needed him, and if my head's not quite right, he's the first person to call me out on it. And just ask me. I think it's so important to do that as men and women in the society we're in, where
because we don't open up.
we don't open up. And there's when you've got social media, there's this preconceived notion of how you should be, how you should operate. People don't talk enough. That's why I love doing this. That's why I love hearing your story.
Yeah.
Because it's just by talking, it's not just going to help the people listening. Hopefully this will help you.
Yeah.
Because just talking about these things, getting a different perspective, but just getting it out, the more you internalize stuff, it is so damaging.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people put their own feelings down a lot as well. I think that's one thing about mental health is I think it's so important to talk about, but I think mental health is also thrown around far too easily. Like, I know that might come across like in a harsh way with going with what's went on in my life, but I think like there's like you go on TikTok and it's living with ADHD. I can't concentrate, and it's like you don't have ADHD. You're just on your phone all the time. It's like people self-diagnose themselves with so many things. And I was saying to my girlfriend like, because like I'm depressed now. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna have depression for the rest of my life. And to be fair, I've struggled with depression for quite a few years, but I've always felt so pathetic saying I have got depression, I am depressed, because it is thrown around far too easily.
Once a mental health diagnosis becomes taboo, like that does more harm than anything else, because every mental health illness or diagnosis has real symptoms, real problems, real issues that it can cause. But when it becomes taboo, the problem is no one's going to then talk about it because they think you're just going to be taking the piss.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, for some reason, social media has made having mental health issues a trend.
Yeah, it is.
They've made it trendy,
I agree with that.
which I think is just crazy. And I think that probably, not that my mum was big on social media and stuff, but like that's probably filtered into why my mum got to the point that she did, because she was such a proud woman that she didn't want this to be portrayed on anybody else. Like
identity.
she got to the point where she genuinely thought we would be better off without her, which would still kind of understand how she got to that point, which is honestly...
It's your demons. Your demons are persuasive. There's one quote that stuck with me forever, and it was, never underestimate the hole that you might leave. Because you don't know what kind of hole you're going to leave in people's hearts.
It's when you're internalizing things, it's so much worse in your head. What you were saying earlier, you're 10 times harder on yourself.
Yeah.
Why it's so important to talk about stuff, because I guarantee when you talk about things, you communicate it. I'm often surprised by the reaction of how nonchalant the other person is, because it's not that big a deal. When you talk about it, you get it out there, it can be solved. When you keep it, when you internalize it, it's very hard to fix it.
Yeah, definitely.
Really
There's just a huge stigma around it. That's
100%.
I think it makes it so hard to know what to say, when to say, who to say it to, because it's just so much going around. Nobody, like I say, nobody really knows what's going on inside people's heads. But I know in myself, because of the way stuff gets thrown around, I've always found it harder. Where you'll know yourself as a man. I think it is a lot harder to
100%.
talk to your friends about it, because you feel daft, don't you? That's the best way to put it. You feel like you're bugging them or bringing them down or this and that. But like me, my brother and my dad, every single day we ring each other, ask how we're doing, and we sit and have a conversation. And if one of us gets like a bit bad, that's who's there. And we're sort of just taking it in turns, the three of us going around helping each other. And I think it's, since my mom's passed away, like I've sat to my brother and I've said, why weren't we doing this anyways? Why isn't this what people just do? This is how people should be living their life, especially families. You know what I mean? You should be asking them every single day how they're on, sitting having conversations. Like I was guilty of probably not spending enough quality time with them, and it was like I remember sitting downstairs. I was watching the telly with my brother and my dad, and I was like, I love this. I can't believe like I wasn't doing this. I can't believe I wasn't choosing to spend more time and have more conversations. So I think people just need it. Like you say, it is harder to talk, but once you make that first step of talking, it becomes easier, becomes more regular. Make it a regular thing so it doesn't
100%.
feel awkward.
No, I agree with you. I do. I think once you, it's who you surround yourself with though. But I do think this is changing. I think if you look at what are the guys, the social network wellness, those guys, you see James Dean and stuff. They're doing great stuff. They're getting a community of guys where they are creating a brotherhood almost. Men, women, and they're getting them together, and it's to better yourselves, to talk, communicate, move. So I think there's lots of stuff out there, and people are starting to understand it a lot more than they did 5, 10 years, even a few years ago. But I think it's still very easy to, if you don't make base changes with who you're surrounding yourself with, it's very hard to make those changes.
I was a lad who's going to be coming training with us soon, and he was a great kid growing up, and he sort of got into the wrong crowd. And I was speaking to him the other day, and I says, look, if you sit in a room full of farts, you're going to come out stinking like shit. That's what I said to him. I says, like, you are what you hang around with. Like, even if you're a completely different person to them, you are what you hang around with. And I was like, you need to, like no limits. And like you say, like the social wellness club, if you can insert yourself into a community of people that are also trying to better themselves, the only thing you can do is elevate and go up. It's the only thing you can do. And if you are going down, because you're surrounded by them people, they're going to be there to bring you up. So
what do you think stops people from changing their environment, like you say?
The comfort zone.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
People are
discomfort.
Literally, that's what it is. People are way too comfortable, and they don't want change. Like I've done it for years. God, before I started training, I used to be like I was like a big chubby kid. I just used to sit and play my Xbox and not really do a thing, and push myself out the comfort zone, and getting into, I know training isn't the be all and end all of stuff, but you'll know yourself the opportunities you've got from bettering yourself and the people 100%. You meet, and it's just it's so much better.
It amplifies everything. You feel better, you move better, you have more confidence. But you're right, it's the people you meet. Well, that's what's been a game changer for me, the people you meet in those environments.
I seen one thing, and it said you can fake absolutely everything in your life. You can like fake you've got money, you can fake like a lifestyle, but the one true reflection of yourself is your body.
Yeah.
So if you look after yourself, that's a true reflection of who you are as a person. And if you're surrounding yourself with them people, like everyone's striving for better, to be 1% better. So it is just getting out your comfort zone and getting into that into that environment, and it'll
That's
make
very
your life
true,
so much
actually,
better.
I agree
It's
with
one
that.
thing that you can't fake, and I think that's why it's so important to look after yourself physically just as much as you do mentally.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Because that's so true. That's so true.
What's your view on like Ozempic and the weight loss drugs as a PT?
I think it's crazy, absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, it works, it gets results, but if you need longevity, and that isn't longevity. I don't know what
No,
the
I
side
agree.
effects are down the line.
Not good.
I'm sure there's cancer related stuff, but like losing weight and getting healthy is about building habits.
Yes.
You've got to do the good things consistently to get good results. Like even like quick fixes, like 4-week shreds and stuff, like they're good for a very short period of time, but you just have to do the it's not easy, but it is simple.
Yes.
I think you have to do it
that's
in
it.
order as well, because like do have a lot of people do stuff so they can have stuff, but really it's who do you need to be,
Yeah,
who
definitely.
do you need to become, because that comes first. Because once you start to focus on who you need to become, then you think about what type of habits are in alignment with that type of individual. So I think that's ultimately what people mess up on. They try and just do stuff to have stuff rather than thinking about who they need to become.
Yeah, and the problem is a lot of these fitness influencers who have these daily routines and stuff like that. When like steroid use, I'm not against it at all, but like there's a lot of people out there who like there's loads of fitness influencers out there who are on steroids and don't admit it. And it, like I did it for ages. I think is it Matt Does Fitness, the Gymshark one,
the guy that pouts all the time.
absolute athlete impeccable shape. He looks great. I did one of his programs for like 8 weeks, and I was like, I look nothing like that. Like, what on earth's going on? Yeah, and it bugged me head out for ages, and I was
missing out the trend.
so stupid and naive to not realize he was juiced out his head. But like, there's just I think the problem is as well with fitness influencers is that because you need a niche to stand out, because like everyone will post workout videos, everyone will post this. People need a niche, so they post these crazy things that they don't actually do to stand out, and all these other people try and do them. They can't keep it up because it's not sustainable, and then they fall off and they give up, and it's just a constant cycle of trying to find these little quick fixes and quick this and quick that.
That's it though, isn't it? It's funny, right? I was talking to this is someone really close to me. I won't say who, it's someone very close to me, and I was talking to someone else about, we were sort of saying, well, when are they going to make the changes they need? And I was looking at my own experience of nothing's ever really a quick fix. And I was saying, well, the issue is it's going to take probably a year to build that base that person needs. And then at least another year to 2 years to really build momentum on that platform. It's the realization that it's not a quick fix.
Do you know, the crazy thing is when you say, it sounds like a long time, but it's 1% of your life.
Oh, no, I agree. But we think in decades. Most people will think to the summer or maybe even less than that. So they're trying to get this quick fix. And you're looking at a lifestyle choice. So for me, you're changing something indefinitely. You know,
I've just had a client in this morning. One of my clients, Jordan Atkinson, and he come with us on the 28th of January, and he's going on a stag do next week. So and they've got a wedding and stuff. So he wanted to lose some weight, and he come and he's like, I want to lose it as quick as possible. Blah blah blah. And I just said like, I'm not going to do that for you. I was like, I'm going to keep you here for as long as I can. And show you how you should be, not just training but living. And he's lost today 19 kilo of fat alone since the 28th of January, and he's not starved himself. He's not like done anything crazy. He's just been showing up. Like even just things like with takeaways. I said just have a takeaway that's macro beneficial. Do you know what I mean? Go like get a mixed grill or something like that, and like just make it's not about like a whole switch and changing who you are as a person. It's just making small adjustments to your day or to your life to the point where they become your normal, and then you can enjoy them other parts of life without feeling guilty.
That's true.
It's just quick fixes are never the answer.
No. How have you found the journey of being a personal trainer? Because as a coach myself, one thing that I've noticed is you are in a leadership role because you're leading other people. Um, and sometimes I find in the personal training industry, there's a lot of people wearing a mask where they pretend to do the things that they tell other people to do, but they don't actually do it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, what's been your experience of being in that leadership role as a personal trainer, as a coach?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love helping people. And to be fair, to add to that, I sort of did that myself. And I had a conversation with Jack Waterson, and it was like only a few months ago. And I've always trained. I've never been like a one way, oh, you do this and I'm not going to. I always eat well. I've always done the right things. But I realised that there was a lot more I could ask of myself that I just wasn't doing because I was happy with everything else I was doing. For instance, like me running. Like I'm not a great runner, but I always used to make excuses like, oh, I've got tendonitis, or I'm 90 odd kg. Like I'm okay with being okay. And then like
That's usually my excuse.
and then I realised I was just
You
like
ain't 90
I'm like 120.
one of his arms 90 kg. But then I realised I was like in every other aspect of like just fitness alone, I'm not okay with just being okay. So why am I doing it with this? So I think I love the leadership role. I like sort of like sort of setting an example and just I think because I live and breathe it. Me, I love it. If I didn't do it, I probably wouldn't be. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I do it. But I know how much it benefits me, so I love helping other people get to that point because it helps them so much as well. Like the amount of my clients who've come and said like the confidence is through the roof. Like just Jordan Atkinson and Jamie Hogg, the ones I was on about there, like they had the tops off in the conditioning session. Do you know what I mean? Like,
love that, man.
like they wouldn't take the top off in public at all. I think Hogg said he walked home with his top off, and he says, "I've never done that before in his life." So it's
That's
like
a big moment,
mate. It's a huge bonus.
Moment.
It's for me the best part of my job is seeing people get the mojo back. Seeing people like, especially fellas. I think like there's loads of fellas out there who like just they're not confident at all. They're this, they're that, and they're like sort of shriveled up, and they just come to life. It's unbelievable. Like it's the best part of my job by a mile.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I agree with that. As a man, when you go from whichever point you're at, if you're not happy with it, to a point where you have confidence in the way you look, like that's a game changer.
It is. I remember the first time I ever done it. I was I've probably been training about 2.5 years, and I was in JD Sports with me mum, and I was trying to top on, and I used to always go to the changing rooms and like do it there, and I just took me top off in the middle of the shop, and my mum went, "You would never used to do that," and I was like, "Look at this now, man! Look at this now!"
Exactly. No, mate, I love that. I can't keep my top on the conditioning sessions. It's men. No, I agree, mate. I do.
So, what do you do in terms of your personal development, like beyond training? Like, do you read or do you listen to stuff?
Don't read, but I do listen to quite a lot of audio books. Just mainly when I run, I'll put my audio books on. I've been sort of locked in on the Goggins stuff at the minute.
Have you read his book?
Audio ones. I'm on his second one. I've listened to Can't Hurt Me, and I'm just on to Never Finish now. And I don't. It put things into perspective for us. I do want to start doing more. I probably should start reading. But yeah, like I used to be guilty of going in and like jumping on the Xbox or the PlayStation or sitting and rotting away. But now, like, I make sure that I've got everything done. I've started my cold plunges again and stuff like that. Just trying to get locked in the best way I can, really.
I think it is. It's about, for me, non-negotiables. Having those non-negotiables that they don't dictate your life, but they give you that base routine.
Yeah.
So for me, it is, I won't go to bed later than 10. I won't wake up later than 5. I'll do my journaling in the morning. I'll do my journaling in the evening, and I will train at least 5 times a week. And then some of the other stuff, I'll add in a lot of that. Like right now, massively dialed in with Gaz on nutrition, my training, everything, and it's just taking me up to another level.
Yeah.
But that's only because I've got that base. Now I've got that base, and also looking after your mental health. So for me, I had a hypnotherapy session this morning. I do one whenever I need them, really. Sometimes every couple of weeks, sometimes once a month. It's been about 5 weeks since I had my last one. But it's just investing in yourself to better yourself, and removing any stigma, removing your pride. pride it can be so detrimental, because if it's stopping you doing something that's going to better you, then it's not serving its purpose. You know, I truly believe that. I think there's so many men and women out there that, I mean, my honest opinion is, if not all of the human race could do with some form of therapy. Everyone has something that they're not talking about, they should talk about, that would benefit them getting it off their chest.
Yeah.
And I think on that note, so many people, I was talking to someone about this the other day, and they were going, yeah, you know, I think I should maybe do this, or what do you think I should do to improve my routine? I said, you know what you need to fucking do. Everyone knows what they need to do. You know, like, you know, the little things you need, the changes you'll make, you're just not making them.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're all guilty of that. Like, I've been saying for about 5 months in my head, I'm gonna get rid of my PlayStation 5. I play it once a week, but I still know it's a distraction.
Yep.
And I haven't got rid of it. It's still sat there. I've been saying for so long. It's little things like that. You know, making just, you know what you need to do it. Right? Little things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Absolutely. I think it's not easy. Don't get us wrong.
No, it's not.
Like,
It's
not
probably
easy.
just like that comfort zone thing again.
Oh,
because, like, I'm the same. Like, I've said the exact same about my Xbox. I'll say, right, it's not bettering us. I could be doing something better than this now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but I do like going
Yeah,
on
you
it.
just...
It's like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I just shouted it when I'm on it. Like, but like, it's like that comfort zone thing of, like, because you've got your little comfort blanket there, you want to try and keep a hold of it. But like you say, people know what they need to do. It's just whether they've got the balls to do it, really, and they get up and go to do it.
No, I agree. I think to finish off, mate, could you tell us a story about your mum?
Yeah. So what do you want to hear about her? What's
Just
just
story you like?
If it was, so obviously it's so close and so personal, losing, you know, your mother. But in my culture, like, I've never really spoken about this, but I'm Congolese, and in my culture, we actually see death as a celebration. So when we lose that person, it's almost like the funeral's like one big party where you're celebrating that person's life. And it's not a very common thing because, you know, you mourn death, don't you?
Yeah.
But what's one thing that you'd want people to remember about your mum? Because I think that's so important when you lose a loved one. Yeah.
I laugh, honestly, her laugh, and just the infectiousness around her, and just, she was amazing. Like, I said in the article, actually, I said that everybody on the planet says I've got the best mom in the world, and like, I truly believe I did. I truly believe my mom was the best mom in the world. She daunted over me and my brother. Even when my brother had a big house party and trashed the house and pissed off all the neighbours, like, daunted over her. She did absolutely everything for her, and I just think the best way to remember my mum is just how she was. She was just an amazing, funny, intelligent, hard-working woman. She'd never ever stopped, and obviously towards our last few weeks, she was very poorly and struggled with her mental health massively. But I even said to myself, that wasn't my mum. I know that the woman who took her life that day was not my mum. And I just think,
if you could have one more conversation with her, what do you think she'd say to you right now?
Sorry. Yeah, I think she'd say sorry. Because after she passed away, me and my brother both had a dream about her, and basically that, it was just like, I had a dream, and I just says, like, what on earth have you done? And she just said, like, I'm so sorry. I wish I could take it all back, and I do. I think she would just say sorry and tell her that she loved her, because I know she did. You know what I mean? Like, every single day, we would tell each other we loved each other. I would give each other a kiss goodnight. We had like the most amazing relationship you could possibly imagine. She was my best friend. She wasn't just me mom. She was my best friend, Matty's best friend, my dad's best friend, and she was everybody's. Like, it's not just us as a family who's devastated. It's absolutely everybody who knew her. Obviously, suicide's such a tragic thing, but the loss of such a great woman is more tragic than the suicide itself, and that's exactly what she was. She was amazing.
Should be so proud of you, mate.
I appreciate it.
So
really do.
So proud.
Oh, that's a good place to end it. Brilliant. Mate,
Perfect,
pleasure having
boys.
you on, bro. That was wicked. That was wicked.
Sure,
So I'll
man,
shake your
bro.
hand, but I really